He married the alien princess against his will, but that night everything changed. The human colony, nestled on the edge of the explored universe, was quiet this evening, a rare calm before the storm of political expectations. Liam Carter, a young human soldier, leaned against the railing of the colony's observation deck. He had spent years exploring distant planets, training for battles he never wanted, and serving an empire that seemed to value human courage above all else. Yet tonight, nothing he had prepared for seemed to matter. A message had arrived just before sunset, one that would change his life forever. Liam had been chosen for a mission unlike any he had faced. He was to marry an alien princess. Not for love, not for friendship, but as part of a political alliance between humans and the Zorathian Empire, a civilization known for its elegance, intelligence, and strict customs. Liam had read the official briefing countless times, hoping he had misunderstood. Perhaps there was a mistake, but no, his name was clearly listed in glowing letters on the hollow screen. Liam Carter, bridegroom for Princess Elira of the Zorathian Empire. He rubbed his temples and let out a deep sigh. "Why me?" he muttered to himself. Humans were not known for their diplomacy. They were known for courage, for endurance, for survival. Diplomacy required patience, subtlety, and grace. Liam had plenty of courage, but patience and grace, not his strongest traits. His friend and fellow soldier, Rena Solis, approached, noticing his tense posture. "Liam, are you really thinking about this?" she asked gently. "You don't have to marry anyone, maybe they'll choose someone else." Liam shook his head. "No, Rena, the council has already decided. This isn't optional, it's mandatory. I'm supposed to go to Orvath 9 tonight, meet the princess," and he paused, swallowing. "Marry her," Rena frowned. "I know it sounds impossible, but maybe it's not as bad as you think. The Zorathians value humans. They think our abilities are remarkable. Maybe this is an opportunity, not a trap." "Opportunity?" Liam laughed bitterly. "Rena, I've never even met this princess. I don't even know her world. I don't speak her language perfectly. And now I'm supposed to act like I understand her customs, traditions, and whatever else they expect." Rena's gaze softened. "I know it's scary, but sometimes we don't see our own strength until we're forced into situations like this." Liam shook his head again and looked out toward the horizon. The twin moons of Orvath 9 reflected in the ocean below, casting silver trails that stretched across the water. The view was breathtaking, almost magical, but he couldn't enjoy it. Not when his life was about to change in ways he could barely imagine. The journey to the Zorathian floating palace began at sunset. Liam boarded a sleek shuttle, its metallic surface gleaming under the last light of day. The flight was silent except for the low hum of the engines. Liam tried to focus on the passing stars, but his thoughts were filled with uncertainty. What would Princess Elira be like? Would she be kind or cold and distant? Would she respect him, or view him as nothing more than a human pawn in her empire's games? When the shuttle landed, Liam was greeted by the palace guards, tall, elegant beings with shimmering skin that reflected light like liquid silver. They led him through towering halls filled with colors he had never seen, lights that danced without any visible source, and strange, floating creatures that hovered peacefully around the corridors. Everything felt alive, yet alien, and Liam felt like a stranger in another world. Finally, he arrived at the ceremonial chamber. The room was enormous, its walls made of crystal-like material that refracted the soft glow of the lights into 1,000 sparkling fragments. At the far end stood Princess Elira. She was taller than humans, with delicate features and skin that seemed to shimmer faintly in the light. Her eyes glowed with a gentle luminescence, a color Liam couldn't quite name. She wore a gown that floated around her as if it had a life of its own, and her posture was regal yet relaxed. For a moment, Liam was speechless. The reports had not done her justice. She was more than beautiful. She radiated intelligence, strength, and calm authority. But still, she was an alien, a being from a world he could barely understand. "Liam Carter," she said, her voice musical but firm. "Welcome to Orvath 9. Princess Elira," Liam replied, trying to keep his voice steady. I'm honored to meet you." Elira inclined her head slightly. "I understand this union was not your choice. I want you to know I do not expect love tonight. I only ask for respect, cooperation, and understanding of our customs. That is all." Liam blinked. Her words were calm, measured, and surprisingly gentle. I can do that," he said cautiously. The ceremony began, a blend of human and Zorathian traditions. Liam struggled to follow the rituals. There were gestures he did not recognize, words he could barely pronounce, and movements that required precise coordination. Elira guided him patiently, her luminous eyes watching every attempt he made. When it came time to exchange vows, Liam hesitated, but Elira's gaze was not demanding, it was encouraging. "Speak from your heart," she said softly. "Even a few words are enough." Liam took a deep breath and said, I promise to respect your world, your people, and you, Princess Elira. I may not understand everything now, but I will try." Elira smiled faintly. "That is enough." The final ritual involved placing their hands on a glowing crystal between them. The crystal pulsed gently, reacting to their combined presence. Liam felt warmth spread through him, an unexpected sensation that was neither fear nor discomfort, but something strange, calm, and promising. As the ceremony concluded, the crowd of Zorathians applauded, their light patterns flashing in celebration. Liam realized he had survived the first challenge. He had married the alien princess, and yet his mind could not stop racing. What came next? How could he survive life in this palace, in this alien world, with its strange customs, expectations, and endless mysteries? Elira walked beside him toward her private chambers. The palace corridors were quieter now, and the hum of energy from the floating structures seemed to blend with the soft waves of the ocean outside. Liam followed, unsure of what to expect. "This way," Elira said. Her voice was calm, but there was a hint of curiosity in it. She paused at a doorway and gestured for him to enter. "Tonight, you will rest. Tomorrow we begin the process of understanding each other." Liam nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and apprehension. He had survived the ceremony, but he knew the real challenge had just begun. Living among the Zorathians, understanding their ways, and finding his place in this alien empire, it was daunting. And yet, he could not deny a tiny spark of intrigue. Perhaps there was more to this world, more to Elira, than he had expected. As he settled into the room, Liam looked out the window at the sparkling city below. The lights of the palace reflected on the ocean in waves of color, and the twin moons hung like watchful eyes above the horizon. Despite the fear and uncertainty, a small part of him wondered, what if this marriage wasn't a trap at all? What if it was the beginning of something unexpected, something remarkable? He did not know what the night would bring. He did not know how his feelings, his perspective, or his understanding of the universe might change. But one thing was certain, nothing would ever be the same again. As he lay down, exhausted but alert, Liam could hear the gentle hum of the palace around him. Somewhere in the distance, Elira moved through the halls, her presence calm and assured. And in that moment, Liam realized that for the first time in his life, he was not facing a mission or a battle. He was facing a new world, a new life, and perhaps the beginning of a story far greater than he could have imagined. The night was quiet, but it was alive with possibility. And as Liam drifted to sleep, he could not help but feel that the events of this night, the ceremony, the vows, the strange pulse of the glowing crystal, were only the first step toward a journey that would change him forever. The palace of Princess Elira was unlike anything Liam had ever imagined. Its walls seemed to shimmer, reflecting colors that shifted like sunlight on water. Floating lanterns drifted through the air, and soft hums of energy pulsed in the halls, giving the place a life of its own. Liam walked beside Elira, still struggling to adjust to her world. Every step he took made him feel smaller, more human, and yet there was a strange beauty in being here. Elira guided him to her private quarters, a space filled with floating orbs of soft light, walls of transparent crystal, and a large viewing window that looked out over the glowing oceans of Orvath 9. The twin moons reflected off the water, creating a silver path that stretched across the horizon. Liam could not help but stare. "It's beautiful," he said, almost whispering. Elira smiled faintly. "It is my home. And soon it may be your home too." Her tone was calm, yet there was a hint of curiosity in her voice. "I know you feel this marriage is against your will. I do not ask for more than understanding, but I hope, perhaps you will see that our worlds are not so different." Liam exhaled slowly. "I want to, Elira, I really do, but it's hard to see past everything I've been told. Humans and Zorathians, we've always been cautious of each other, and now I'm supposed to trust that this isn't just a political arrangement." Elira stepped closer, her eyes glowing softly. "Trust is earned, Liam, and sometimes the universe helps with that." Before he could respond, a soft vibration ran through the palace. Liam instinctively took a step back. Elira raised a hand and the floating lanterns danced in response. "The energy storm," she said calmly. "It comes once in a cycle. It is rare, and it affects the palace in ways that are unexpected." Liam followed her to the viewing window and his breath caught. Outside, the sky was alive with color. Waves of electric blue, violet, and gold streaked across the horizon, interacting with the palace's energy fields to create a light show unlike anything he had ever seen. "It's incredible," Liam whispered, unable to look away. "It's like the stars are dancing." Elira's smile widened. "It is beautiful, yes, and it is powerful. The storm interacts with our palace and our energy fields, testing the balance of everything here. It is considered a blessing." As they watched, a sudden pulse of light rippled through the palace. A floating platform beneath Liam's feet quivered dangerously. He stumbled, arms flailing, and Elira reached out instantly, her hand glowing faintly as it stabilized the platform. "You must be careful," she said, her voice calm but firm. "The palace reacts to the storm and not all areas are safe." "I thank you," Liam stammered, still gripping the edge of the railing. I didn't expect this." "You are not used to our world," Elira said gently. "That is understandable, but you are human. Humans adapt quickly. You will learn." For the first time that evening, Liam felt a spark of admiration for her. She was not just a princess performing duties. She was someone who understood her world deeply, someone who could act with courage and care even in the middle of a chaotic energy storm. The storm intensified, streaks of violet and gold slicing across the sky. Liam noticed that some of the palace's energy conduits glowed brighter, responding to the storm. Elira moved gracefully across the room, adjusting the energy fields with gestures that Liam could barely follow. "Do you want to try?" she asked suddenly, handing him a small floating orb. Liam blinked. "Try what?" "Feel the energy," she said simply. "Do not resist it. Let it flow through you." He hesitated, but something about the calm confidence in her voice made him reach out. As his hand touched the orb, a warmth spread through him. He felt a gentle pulse like a heartbeat, synchronized with the palace's energy fields. The lights around him shifted, responding to his presence. "It's amazing," Liam breathed. "It's like it's alive." "Everything here is alive," Elira said softly. "Our energy, our buildings, even the ocean responds to us. We are not separate from our world, and soon perhaps you will feel the same." Liam looked at her, amazed. You understand all of this, how to control it." Elira nodded. "Yes, and you human have a gift. Humans can adapt in ways even we cannot. You feel the energy differently. That is why the council chose you. Not just as a political partner, but because you bring something unique to our world." Liam's chest tightened. He had never thought of himself as remarkable. He was a soldier trained to follow orders, to survive, to endure. But Elira saw something more in him, something he had never recognized. They stood in silence for a few moments, watching the storm. Then, unexpectedly, a large surge of energy pulsed through the palace. Liam felt the floor beneath him shift again. Before he could react, Elira stepped forward, placing her hand on his shoulder. The glow from her skin spread to him, steadying the energy around them. "You are stronger than you think," she said. "Humans have courage, creativity, and heart. These are qualities even the Zorathians admire." Liam looked at her, surprised. You mean that?" "I do," Elira said simply. "Tonight, you have already begun to prove it. You have remained calm, you have observed, you have adapted. That is the beginning of understanding." The storm outside reached its peak. Liam felt a strange exhilaration, a connection not just to the palace, but to Elira herself. Her presence was calming, grounding, and yet inspiring. He realized that this night, the storm, the palace, the princess, was teaching him something he had never expected: trust, patience, and the realization that humans could stand as equals in any world, no matter how alien. Elira gestured toward a balcony. "Come, watch the final phase of the storm. It is a moment rarely seen by outsiders." Liam followed, stepping onto the balcony. The wind carried the scent of the ocean, salty and fresh. The storm illuminated the sky with brilliant patterns, and Liam could see the reflection of the light in Elira's eyes. She did not look like a princess in the traditional sense. She looked like a guardian of this world, a being of strength, intelligence, and grace. As the storm began to calm, Elira turned to him. "You see, Liam, our worlds can be different, yet there are ways to connect. Understanding begins with moments like this, with patience, observation, and willingness to learn." Liam felt his heart pound, not from fear but from awe. I think I understand, Elira. Not everything, but I want to try, I want to learn. Her smile was warm, almost human in its expression. That is all I ask. You do not have to love me, nor do you have to be perfect. Just be willing to see beyond your assumptions. For the first time since learning about this marriage, Liam felt a sense of calm. He was not trapped. He was not powerless. He had a choice. He could resist, or he could embrace this opportunity to grow, to understand, and to connect with someone who was more remarkable than he had ever imagined. The night drew on, the twin moons casting a gentle glow over the oceans. Liam and Elira sat on the balcony, watching the final ripples of the storm fade into quiet. Liam realized that this one night after a forced marriage, was already changing him. He felt a spark of hope, curiosity, and even admiration for Elira. "This world, your world, it's incredible," he said quietly. "And I feel small but also important somehow. I don't know how to explain it." Elira nodded. "Humans often feel small in the universe, but small does not mean powerless. Your presence here, your willingness to learn, your courage, it all matters. You will see in time just how much." Liam nodded slowly, understanding that this was more than a lesson about her world. It was a lesson about himself. Humans could adapt, humans could connect, humans could inspire even in worlds that seemed impossible. And perhaps, he thought, that was the true reason he had been chosen, not for politics, not for duty, but for what humans could uniquely offer. As the night deepened, the palace quieted. The hum of energy softened and the floating lights dimmed. Liam felt exhaustion creeping in, but it was a pleasant kind. He had experienced wonder, awe, and a newfound respect for the alien world he had been thrust into. Elira's presence, calm and steady, reminded him that perhaps the universe was larger than he had imagined, and humans had a place not just to survive, but to shine. Finally, Liam lay down, his thoughts full of light, energy, and possibility. The storm had passed, leaving behind not destruction, but a sense of connection. For the first time since this marriage had been announced, he felt that perhaps this was not the end of his freedom, but the beginning of something remarkable. And as he drifted into sleep, he knew that tomorrow would bring challenges, learning, and perhaps even friendship. But tonight had changed everything. The morning sun rose slowly over Orvath 9, casting long streaks of violet and gold across the palace's floating towers. Liam Carter woke with a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. Last night had been unlike anything he had imagined. The energy storm, the glowing palace, and Elira's calm guidance had left him with a sense of awe. But today, reality awaited. He was still a human in an alien world, still bound by the expectations of a political union he had not chosen. Elira awaited him at breakfast, a soft glow surrounding her as usual. She did not speak immediately, simply observing Liam with her luminous eyes. "You slept well?" she asked after a moment. Liam nodded. "Better than I expected. Last night it was something else. I've never seen anything like it." Elira's smile was gentle. "That is the world of the Zorathians, beautiful, powerful, and sometimes challenging. You must learn to navigate it carefully. Today we begin with the lessons of understanding our people, their needs, and their ways." Liam sighed. Lessons had never been his strong suit. He had been trained to follow orders, to survive in harsh conditions, to react quickly. But understanding an entire alien culture was something else entirely. Still, he had a spark of determination. If he was going to survive here, he would need to try. Their first stop was the city's main hall, a vast open space filled with Zorathians moving gracefully, floating platforms carrying goods and information through the air. Humans in the city were few, but those present seemed both curious and cautious of Liam's presence. "This is the heart of Orvath 9, Elira explained. "Here you will see our people at work, our technologies in motion, and the ways our society functions. Observe, ask questions if necessary, but do so with respect." Liam nodded, watching carefully. The Zorathians moved with precision, their actions synchronized in ways that seemed almost choreographed. Some communicated with subtle gestures, others with glowing patterns of light emitted from their bodies. It was beautiful but overwhelming. He struggled to interpret the meanings behind the patterns. "Do not be discouraged," Elira said, noticing his tension. "It will take time. Humans are not accustomed to reading our signals, but that is part of your strength. You learn quickly and you think differently." "That is valuable." As they walked through the city, Liam noticed small acts of kindness that reminded him of humans, even in this alien world. A Zarathian child helped a struggling elder carry supplies. A young adult shared a glowing fruit with a passerby. Elira explained each act patiently. "We value community," she said. "Strength alone is not enough. Understanding, empathy, and care bind our people together." Liam listened, realizing that despite the differences, these values were familiar. Human societies were built on trust, empathy, and cooperation as well. Perhaps the Zarathians were not so different after all. Their tour was interrupted by an urgent summons. Elira received a message through her personal communicator, a small device that projected a holographic symbol. She studied it for a moment, her expression serious. "It appears there is unrest among a group of citizens. A faction believes this marriage threatens their way of life. They have sent warnings that may disrupt the harmony of the city." Liam felt a surge of concern. "Warnings? What do they want?" "They fear the union between humans and Zarathians will change traditions," Elira explained. "Some are resistant to the idea of outsiders influencing our empire. You must remain calm, Liam. We will not face danger physically, but we must navigate these tensions carefully." Liam nodded, his mind racing. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This was diplomacy, understanding, and patience. Mistakes here could have consequences far beyond his own life. They arrived at a council hall where leaders of the city had gathered. The chamber was grand, filled with floating platforms, glowing symbols, and Zarathians of all ages and ranks. The air hummed with energy, and Liam felt both awe and nervousness. Elira spoke first, her voice commanding yet gentle. "These humans are our allies. Liam Carter, though new to our world, represents a bridge between our people. We must approach this moment with patience, understanding, and respect." A leader stepped forward, projecting patterns of light that Liam could barely interpret. Elira translated carefully, explaining that the faction was concerned about traditions being altered, about the influence of humans over Zarathian decisions. Liam listened, trying to absorb every detail. He realized that trust was fragile here, as fragile as it had been among humans in wartime. Misunderstanding could escalate, but careful words and thoughtful actions could build respect. When it was his turn to speak, Liam felt his nerves tighten. But he remembered Elira's words from the previous night. Trust is earned, not demanded. Taking a deep breath, he addressed the council. "I may be human," he began, "but I am here to understand, not to dominate. I do not come to change your world for my benefit. I come to learn, to listen, and to respect. Elira has guided me, and I hope we can work together to build understanding between our people." There was silence for a moment. Then the council responded with cautious nods, the glowing patterns of approval slowly spreading through the chamber. Liam exhaled quietly, relieved. He had survived his first diplomatic challenge. After the meeting, Elira led him through quieter streets of the city. "You did well," she said softly. "Your words were sincere, and sincerity is recognized even when it is new or unfamiliar." Liam smiled faintly. "I'm starting to see that humans can be valuable in ways I never imagined. Not because of strength or weapons, but because of empathy and understanding." Elira's eyes glowed softly. "Exactly. That is why you were chosen. Your qualities complement our world, Liam. We need humans to remind us of values we sometimes overlook." As they walked, Liam noticed children playing with small floating lights, laughing as the lights changed color in response to their gestures. He realized that even here in a world so different, the simple joys of life, laughter, curiosity, connection, remained universal. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by a message from the palace. A group of humans in the city had been observing the Zarathians closely, curious about Liam's presence. They were both concerned and fascinated. Elira explained that humans in Orvath 9 were few, but they could be allies if treated with care. Liam met the humans briefly, sharing stories of exploration, training, and his experiences on distant planets. They admired his courage and adaptability, qualities that the Zarathians also valued. Liam felt a strange sense of pride, not in power or conquest, but in being able to connect, to bridge worlds through understanding and respect. As the sun began to set, Elira and Liam returned to the palace. The sky was painted with shades of pink and gold, reflecting on the oceans below. Liam felt a sense of calm, but he also knew challenges lay ahead. Elira led him to the palace library, a vast room filled with floating books, interactive displays, and holographic records of Zorathian history. "Tonight, we study our culture in detail," she said. "Understanding history is key to understanding our people." Liam listened carefully as Elira explained traditions, ceremonies, and ancient philosophies. He asked questions, sometimes clumsily, but Elira answered patiently. He began to see the depth of her knowledge and the wisdom of her people. And slowly, he realized that this marriage, though unwanted at first, was teaching him more about patience, diplomacy, and connection than he had ever learned in training or battle. As night fell, Liam reflected on the day. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and resistance, yet he had also seen beauty, kindness, and the strength of collaboration. Elira's guidance had shown him that humans were not just soldiers or explorers. They were capable of building bridges, fostering understanding, and inspiring trust. When he retired to his room, he felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. He had survived his first day as a husband in an alien world. More importantly, he had begun to see the potential of human qualities, courage, empathy, adaptability, to create connections that even the most advanced civilizations could value. Liam lay on his bed, gazing at the glowing crystals in the ceiling. He thought of Elira, of the council, of the humans he had met today. For the first time, he felt that this marriage was not a trap or a burden, but an opportunity. An opportunity to grow, to learn, and perhaps to help two worlds understand each other. As sleep approached, Liam smiled faintly. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, diplomatic, cultural, and personal. But tonight, he had learned an important lesson. Humans are special not because of strength alone, but because of their ability to adapt, understand, and connect. And with that thought, he drifted into a peaceful sleep, ready for whatever the Zorathian world would ask of him next. The morning sun bathed Orvath 9 in a soft, golden glow. From the palace balcony, Liam Carter could see the floating towers, the shimmering oceans, and the bustling city below. Today was no ordinary day. Elira had told him that they would undergo the trial of unity, an ancient Zorathian ritual meant to test the strength, trust, and understanding between partners. Liam felt a nervous knot tighten in his stomach. He had faced challenges before, battles, survival missions, dangerous explorations. But this trial was different. It was not about physical strength, not about endurance, but about cooperation, intelligence, and empathy. And more than that, it was about partnership with someone whose world he barely understood. Elira appeared at his side, her glowing eyes calm and reassuring. "You have done well so far, Liam," she said softly. "But the trial will test more than knowledge. It will test your ability to trust, to think together, and to understand each other deeply. Are you ready?" I'll try," Liam replied, straightening his shoulders. "I don't know what will happen, but I'll do my best." "That is all I ask," Elira said with a faint smile. They departed from the palace, moving toward the floating mountains where the trial of unity was held. The landscape changed as they ascended, clouds swirling around their path, islands of rock floating effortlessly in the air, glowing rivers of energy weaving between them. The trial site itself was a vast temple carved from crystal, suspended above the highest peak. Light refracted through its walls, creating a kaleidoscope of color that danced across the ground. As they entered the temple, an elder appeared, a Zorathian with luminous silver skin and eyes that radiated wisdom. "Welcome, Princess Elira, and you, human Carter," the elder intoned. "The trial of unity will determine your ability to function as a partnership. You must act as one, think as one, and trust completely. Only then will you succeed." Liam swallowed nervously. He glanced at Elira, who gave him a small nod of encouragement. They stepped together onto the first platform of the trial. The first challenge was a series of floating puzzles. Crystal shapes hovered in the air, each glowing with different colors. To proceed, Liam and Elira had to align the shapes correctly, using both physical gestures and telepathic signals unique to Zorathians. Liam hesitated, unsure of how to interpret Elira's glowing signals. But she reached out gently, guiding his hand, and he began to notice patterns, the rhythm of her thoughts, the subtle movements in her hands. Slowly, they began to move as one, their actions synchronized. Liam felt a sense of pride as each shape clicked into place, the platform ahead glowing with approval. "You are learning quickly," Elira said softly. "Humans often struggle with our telepathy at first, but you are observing carefully. That is key." Liam smiled faintly. I think I understand you better than I thought I could. The second stage of the trial was more complex. They entered a hall filled with illusions, visions that tested their decision-making, ethics, and reactions to hypothetical challenges. Some illusions showed cities in chaos, others showed people in need, and others displayed visions of failure if they did not act carefully. "Trust your instincts," Elira whispered, "and trust me." Liam took a deep breath. They encountered an illusion where a group of humans and Zarathians were in danger from a crumbling structure. Liam felt panic rising, but Elira's calm voice guided him. Together, they directed the illusionary citizens to safety, using a combination of Liam's quick thinking and Elira's telepathic instructions. The illusions shifted rapidly, testing their teamwork again and again. Liam realized that he had begun to anticipate Elira's guidance, and Elira began to respond to his strategies. The synergy between them grew with each challenge, a silent understanding forming that transcended language and species. "This is incredible," Liam whispered at one point. "I've never worked with anyone like this before." "Nor I," Elira replied, her eyes glowing brighter in excitement. "And yet, together, we are stronger." The final stage of the trial brought them to a room of light and energy. A crystal pedestal floated in the center, radiating powerful energy that reacted to their combined presence. To succeed, they had to place their hands on the pedestal at the same time, synchronize their intentions, and focus on a shared goal: harmony. Liam hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to align his thoughts with Elira's. But then he remembered the lessons from the past days, the way they had learned to communicate, trust each other, and respect differences. He closed his eyes and focused, opening his mind to her presence. Elira's hand found his, glowing softly. "Together," she said. "Think together, feel together." They concentrated, their thoughts intertwining. Liam felt a warmth spreading through him, a connection to Elira, the temple, and even the world outside. The pedestal's light pulsed in response, brighter and brighter, until the entire temple shimmered with a radiant glow. Suddenly, the energy stabilized, bathing them in a calm, golden light. The elder appeared once more, a look of satisfaction on their face. "You have succeeded. The trial of unity is complete. You have demonstrated trust, cooperation, and understanding. You are now recognized as true partners." Liam looked at Elira, a mixture of relief and pride flooding through him. "We did it," he said, almost in disbelief. I can't believe it." "You did it," Elira said softly. "Not just me, but both of us. You have grown, Liam. You have shown courage, understanding, and a willingness to connect that even I could not have predicted. That is why humans are remarkable." Liam felt a surge of emotion. He had begun this marriage feeling trapped, uncertain, and unwilling. But now, after the trial, he felt a sense of purpose. Humans could contribute in ways that went beyond strength or skill. They could inspire trust, bridge worlds, and create unity where it seemed impossible. Elira smiled, her glowing eyes softening. "This is only the beginning. Our journey together, as partners and as representatives of our peoples, has just begun. But tonight, you have seen the potential of what we can achieve." They returned to the palace, exhausted but exhilarated. The city below celebrated the success of the trial, not just for Elira, but for the human who had proven himself as a worthy partner. Liam began to understand that respect and trust could be earned, even across worlds, and that human qualities, empathy, adaptability, courage, were recognized and valued even in alien civilizations. Later that evening, Liam and Elira stood on the balcony, overlooking the sparkling oceans once more. The light of the twin moons reflected on the waves, creating a serene, magical scene. Liam turned to her. "Elira, I don't know if I can ever fully understand your world," he admitted. "It's so different from everything I've known, but I want to try. I want to learn, and I want to be someone you can rely on, not just as a husband, but as a partner in everything." Elira's smile was warm, almost human in its expression. "And you will, Liam. You have already taken the first steps. Trust, understanding, and patience are the foundation of every relationship. You have shown all three. That is why tonight I am not just seeing a human soldier, I am seeing someone who can truly connect with my world." Liam felt a quiet pride. For the first time, he realized that this marriage, though unwanted at first, was an opportunity. Not just for political alliance, but for personal growth, understanding, and partnership. Humans were special, Elira had said, and he now understood why. Their ability to adapt, empathize, and inspire trust could bridge worlds, create harmony, and spark change where it seemed impossible. As night deepened, the palace quieted. Liam felt exhaustion from the trial, but also a sense of accomplishment that went beyond physical feats. He had learned, adapted, and connected. And in doing so, he had taken the first real steps toward a partnership that could change not just their lives, but the relationship between humans and Zorathians forever. He glanced at Elira, standing gracefully beside him. She had remained calm, patient, and encouraging throughout the trial, and he now understood the depth of her strength, not just as a princess, but as a leader, a teacher, and a guide. This isn't just a marriage, Liam said softly. It's a journey. And I'm glad I'm taking it with you. Elira's eyes glowed softly, and she reached out, placing her hand lightly on his. And I am glad, Liam. Together we will face challenges, learn from each other, and perhaps show both our peoples the power of understanding and unity. Tonight the trial has ended, but our journey has only begun. As Liam lay down to rest, he felt a sense of peace he had never known. The trial had tested him, challenged him, and inspired him. But more importantly, it had reminded him of what humans could offer. Courage, adaptability, empathy, and the ability to connect even in worlds far beyond their own. And as sleep finally claimed him, Liam knew that tomorrow, and every day after, he would face challenges with a new understanding. Not just of Elira, not just of Zorathian culture, but of the potential within himself and the power of humans to bridge worlds, unite people, and create something extraordinary. Tonight, the trial of unity had changed him. Tomorrow, the real journey would begin. The first light of dawn spilled over Orvath 9, painting the floating towers and shimmering oceans in soft gold and violet hues. Liam Carter stood on the balcony of Elira's palace, taking in the breathtaking view. The city below was beginning to stir, human and Zorathian alike preparing for a new day filled with promise. It had been weeks since the trial of unity. In that time, Liam had learned more than he had ever imagined possible. He had navigated the intricacies of Zorathian culture, faced challenges that tested patience and understanding, and discovered the power of human adaptability in ways even Elira had praised. But perhaps most importantly, he had begun to see Elira not just as a princess, but as a partner, a guide, and a friend. Elira joined him on the balcony, her eyes reflecting the dawn. "The city is alive," she said softly. "Our people are beginning to see the value of this union. The humans are no longer outsiders, they are allies respected and trusted." Liam smiled. "It's amazing, I never thought humans could be seen that way here, but I guess when we work together, things change." "That is the truth," Elira replied. "Trust and respect are earned, and when people see the results, they begin to change their perspective." They turned their attention to the city below. Citizens moved with purpose, markets opened, and floating transport platforms hummed softly as they carried goods across the skies. Liam noticed human children laughing as they played with holographic lights, while Zorathian elders observed with gentle smiles. The harmony between their worlds was growing, small but noticeable. Today, Liam and Elira had an important task. The council had requested a joint address, a public announcement of their partnership, and the new initiative to foster understanding and cooperation between humans and Zorathians. Liam felt nervous but ready. He had faced challenges before, but speaking to the entire city, representing both his people and Elira's, was unlike anything he had experienced. When they arrived at the council hall, a large crowd of Zorathians and humans had gathered. Light patterns from the crowd reflected the anticipation in the air. Liam could feel the tension, the curiosity, and the hope radiating from those present. Elira took his hand, a gesture that gave him strength. "Remember, speak from the heart," she whispered. "Sincerity is recognized even if your words are simple." Liam nodded, taking a deep breath. When the council elder gave the signal, he stepped forward, hand in Elira's, and addressed the crowd. "People of Orvath 9, he began, voice steady despite the nerves fluttering in his chest. "I know I came here as an outsider. I was chosen for a duty I did not fully understand. But in the time I have spent with Princess Elira, I have learned something important. Humans have the ability to adapt, to understand, and to connect with worlds far beyond our own. And we are stronger together." A hush fell over the crowd, followed by glowing signs of approval from the Zorathians, light patterns swirling in recognition of his sincerity. Elira continued, her voice clear and melodic. This union was never meant to be merely political. It is a partnership, a bridge between humans and Zorathians. Together we will share knowledge, ideas, and understanding. Together we will face challenges and create a future built on respect, trust, and cooperation. Liam glanced at her, feeling a wave of admiration. She had guided him through every challenge, taught him the depth of her world, and shown patience beyond what he had thought possible. And now, together, they were inspiring change not just for themselves, but for their peoples. After their address, the crowd dispersed, leaving behind an atmosphere of hope and curiosity. Liam and Elira walked through the city, observing interactions between humans and Zorathians that reflected the growing understanding. Children shared toys and games, artisans exchanged techniques, and elders nodded in approval at the cooperation taking place. This feels different," Liam said softly. "It's like we've started something that will last longer than any ceremony or treaty." Elira smiled. "It is different because it is real. Trust and understanding cannot be faked. They must be lived every day. And that is what you have helped to create, Liam." As the day progressed, Liam was introduced to various community leaders, human and Zorathian alike, who discussed projects and initiatives to strengthen cooperation. They planned shared schools, scientific research programs, and cultural exchanges. Liam realized that human creativity, problem-solving, and empathy were not only respected here, they were essential to the success of the alliance. By evening, Liam felt a sense of fulfillment unlike any he had known. He had started this journey reluctantly, uncertain and resistant. But now he saw the potential of humans to inspire trust, foster understanding, and bridge worlds in ways that even the most advanced civilizations could value. That night he joined Elira on the balcony once more, overlooking the glowing city and shimmering oceans. The twin moons reflected their light on the water, and a soft breeze carried the scent of the sea. "I never thought I'd feel at home in a place like this," Liam said quietly. "It's still alien and different and amazing all at once, but somehow I feel like I belong here too." Elira's eyes glowed warmly. "You belong because you have earned your place, Liam. Not through force, not through status, but through courage, empathy, and understanding. Humans have a special gift, the ability to connect, to inspire trust, and to bridge worlds. That is why you are here and why you are valued." Liam smiled, a quiet pride rising in him. "I guess being human has its advantages after all." Elira laughed softly, the sound like wind chimes. "Indeed, and together we can show both our peoples what is possible when humans and Zorathians work side by side." They watched in silence as the city lights danced across the oceans, reflecting the harmony that was slowly growing between their worlds. Liam realized that this was more than a marriage or a political alliance. It was a journey of mutual understanding, learning, and hope. And in that moment, he understood the true meaning of partnership. For the first time, he felt that the future was not something to fear, but something to create. With Elira by his side, humans and Zorathians had the potential to accomplish extraordinary things. They could share knowledge, protect the environment, inspire the next generation, and build a civilization that valued respect, cooperation, and understanding above all else. As the night deepened, Liam reflected on how far he had come. From a reluctant soldier forced into a marriage he did not want, he had grown into someone capable of inspiring change, bridging worlds, and seeing the value of his own humanity. Elira had guided him, challenged him, and encouraged him to see beyond fear and resistance. And in return, Liam realized he had contributed something unique, the human capacity for empathy, adaptability, and courage. Together, they had proven that differences could be a source of strength, not division. Elira reached for his hand, her glow gentle in the moonlight. "Tomorrow is a new day," she said, "and together we will continue this journey, but tonight let us simply enjoy what we have accomplished, the trust, the understanding, and the connection we share." Liam nodded, feeling a warmth in his chest. "Yes, tonight we celebrate. And tomorrow we begin a new chapter, not just for us, but for everyone who believes in cooperation, trust, and hope." The two stood together, hand in hand, overlooking a city alive with potential. Liam realized that humans were indeed remarkable, not for strength alone, not for weapons or conquest, but for their ability to understand, adapt, and inspire. And in Elira, he had found not just a partner, but a guide to a world he had once feared and now cherished. As the night gave way to a peaceful silence, Liam felt contentment and anticipation mingling. The journey was far from over, but he knew one truth with certainty. Humans had a place among the stars, not just as explorers or soldiers, but as beings capable of connection, trust, and unity. And with Elira by his side, anything was possible. The palace lights dimmed, the oceans reflected the twin moons, and the city slept in quiet harmony. Liam closed his eyes, feeling the gentle pulse of the world around him, the strength of partnership, and the promise of a future built on understanding. For the first time since his marriage had been arranged, he smiled freely. The night had changed everything, and the dawn of a new chapter had arrived. Together, humans and Zarathians would build a future of cooperation, respect, and hope. A future that began with understanding and grew through courage, empathy, and unity. And as sleep embraced him, Liam knew that the greatest adventure was only just beginning.